Hi Redappa. Hello. Redappa, you can unmute yourself, and if you have any questions, just unmute yourself and you may ask to sir.
Okay, okay,
Okay. The trainer name is Shabir.
okay,
Okay. Whenever
okay,
you're not going to ask any question, please keep it at mute
okay,
so that he will continue the class.
okay, okay.
Sir, you may go ahead, sir.
Uh, Please make me presenter. I can share my screen. So, are you able to hear my voice? You can just
Yes, sir.
okay, okay, fine. So, uh, some background voice is coming. You can just mute yourself when you have any question or. Okay, so I will. So just let me start about the tool. So what I will do today in today's session is I will not discuss much about the technicality of components and all these things. Just I will give you like what is this tool, what it does, what are the advantages of using this tool compared to other tools, and similar informations like so. Mainly, which will help you to see from a very aggregated view that okay, what this tool is all capable of, how it is different from other tools, and what are its good, bad, or limitation, these kind of things. So that is all about means Design Studio. So what we will see in today's session. So mainly, if you see that okay, what is this Design Studio tool works, or what are the main plus point. So basically the biggest advantage is that it involves, it is very fast, it is very response time you say or loading time application and all these things, it's very fast. It's lightweight application because it does not have its own flash player, or you need doesn't need these plugins etc. to view this application. It runs on your Internet Explorer or your browser, to be precise if I say. So it's just that it will execute because your browser has way more decoding capabilities compared to any other inbuilt tool capability. So it executes very fast. You don't have to provide all these things. It will automatically be taken care by the browser. So this is one of the advantage. And then it has plenty of I will say the biggest or the foremost important thing what it holds is the its JavaScripting part. So JavaScripting part actually it's not something like you would consider as it's something big programming thing or something. It's not very much difficult. It's just a simple thing, not much. But it's like it has very vast functionalities, very too many functions available, too many functionalities to do. So it's just like you have too many things to work out. So it's like more the options, you will have more the confusion if you don't get it properly. But it's not that once you keep building your applications and maybe some even a few months, you will get familiar. Okay, these are the functions used, these are the components used, this is the logic to do this, all these things. So more power, more responsibility. If I say in a layman term, it's this tool, it has plenty of powerful things. So that's why you need to be more knowledgeable about this tool. Like you need to know, okay, these. So basic thing which you need to know is like, okay, this is also available. This is also I can do. So here, more importantly, it's not that how to do this thing. That is not very difficult. The most challenging part, or the most, I will say, the important thing will be like, what are all the things which you can do with this thing? What are the limitations? So that is something which is very important for your, if application building or report creation, all these things, like what are all the. So that is the few of the advantages, and that are simply what I have told you will be not making that much sense right now. When you will maybe 2-3 classes or 3-4 classes when you would have gone, then you will slowly and gradually develop, okay, this is something what not available in other tools and all these things. So that is all about. So what I have told you advantages are just a glimpse of that advantages. More you will get to know when we complete few of the sessions, 4-5 sessions. Like, okay, this is how we manage. So this is mostly about your application tool, what its advantages. Then obviously whenever you choose any tool, not even in the SAP Business Object, wherever, whatever you want to do, whenever you do anything on a front end, it might be any domain, it's not specific to this business object reporting tool. The first and foremost question comes is like, what are the backend system to which I can connect and how we can connect? Because you have to see from end to end. Like, okay, it should not be that, okay, you finalizes all the things, okay, this is my front end, this will be the my design structure, this is my requirement, how I'm, this is my blueprint, all these things, and you have not seen the backend system, or you have not taken every aspects into consideration. So that's something where you need to pay, or you need to understood that, okay, this is my front end. So if this is my design studio tool, first most question will be, okay, my backend system is this, can I connect to this? My backend system is this. So various questions regarding this. So whenever, as far as my personal experience or I have seen in the front end, first and foremost thing to use that tool obviously will be, okay, is it compatible with my backend system? If not, what are the changes I will require? So, or what is the additional effort required? So it might be that you can directly use, or you might need a little bit modification, or maybe something else. So that's how the things will be. So if we take up the question like, okay, what are the systems to which it can connect, so that I can see that, okay, is it useful for me or not? So in that case, I will say there is no limitation to the backend system. So basically they have divided your application into 3 parts. So, or you can say mostly 2 parts, SAP and non-SAP. So when you go to this tools preferences, if you see the backend connections, so they generally divide it into these parts: SAP BW connection, HANA connection, and then this is both the HANA connection. One is through ADBC and one is through HTTP. And one more will be there, that will be SAP Universe. That will come when you when you are connected to your BI platform or your repository, so that we will see. So actually right now what I will be telling you will be a glimpse of all of the things, a very aggregated information. So it will be a minor introduction. There will be plenty of things which will be not cleared very much. So like you will say that, okay, how we connect to these systems, how they have come in here. So that we all will take here one by one. So right now I'm just giving you what are the things available in your tool, how you connect in a top view manner. Okay. So this is about your different backend system. So I was telling you how it divides your application connectivity point of view. So if you see BW connection and HANA connection, so what it does it, if you have your backend system in any SAP BW system, let's say some InfoCube, some BEX queries, or multi-provider kind of thing is present. So in that case, you can directly use that one. Then if you have, let's say, SAP HANA InfoCube, SAP HANA views, that may be calculation view, analytical view, or all these things, that you can calculate or you can use directly also. They all will be listed here. Okay. And then third will be your SAP universes. If you have created some universe on top of, let's say, some flat file or anything, so, or any Excel or these kind of things, so that comes under SAP universe. Okay. So now the obvious question which comes into mind is, what if my backend system is not a SAP source? Because all which are listed here are SAP system, whether it is BW, HANA, Universe, all belongs to SAP. So what if my backend system is a SQL server, Oracle server, flat file, MS Access, anything? So what they have provided is, if you have a SAP system, you can directly connect via BW system, via SAP HANA. If it is not SAP system, if you are not having a SAP, it is a non-SAP. So what they have currently suggested is, you can create a universe on top of that. And then that universe you can publish to your SAP BI Launchpad, and then you can access that via your universe. So here SAP HANA connection is there. When you will be connected to BI Launchpad, fourth will be dialog box will be there, or fourth table will be there, which will be your SAP universe. So universe comes handy when, mostly, I will not say that only in that situation, but mostly in the when you are non-SAP situation, SAP backend system, universe is the only interface by which you can communicate to Design Studio tool. So if your backend system is Oracle, so either you have to migrate it from Oracle to maybe another database, SAP or SAP HANA. But if that is not feasible, because anyway, just for the reporting purpose, you cannot change your landscape. So then what you need to do is, you need to create a simple universe that can be just a replica of the table. You don't need to do any calculation, all these things, and just expose that universe to your Design Studio. So simply, if you say in a nutshell how we connect, if SAP backend system, you can directly connect. If non-SAP, connect via universe. So in all, if you say, you can connect to any of the data source, almost, because universe is available for, I guess, all of the backend system, or even normal non-SAP flat file legacy system. So universe allows you to take all these things, and for SAP already 3 interfaces are there. So as far as I have experience, there is no limitation, if you say directly, to usage of your backend system. Okay, so we will see how we connect to them, how we use them, or how we manipulate that one. So they all will be listed here. So this is all your application designer tool when you create an application. So just let me create an application to show you. So when you will create any of the application, so what it will, whatever anything you name. So this is template category. What is this? This is desktop browser, iPad or iPhone. What does it mean actually? So this means whenever you build an application, try to build an application, it gives you some inbuilt templates. If you see here, it gives you some already inbuilt template, like if you want planning, KPI detail, KPI dashboard, basic analysis. So that you don't have to build, or you don't have to do everything right from the scratch. So it allows you to reuse or build your application on top of the existing templates. So these are few of the templates. So these will be based upon what you have selected, desktop browser, iPad or iPhone. So if you say iPad, you see iPad template, KPI apply, iPad template 3. So there will be slight minor changes between the templates. So now the question will be, like, if I create my application with the template category as desktop browser, so does that mean that my application will not be accessible on mobile or iPad? So the answer is no. It does not have any limitation. You can view your application anywhere, but irrespective of where it is created, whether it is desktop browser, iPad, mobile, that doesn't make any difference from the viewing perspective limitation. But there will be a difference. The difference will be that the aspect ratio of the screen of mobile, iPad and desktop are a little bit different. If you see generally mobile, what happens is the length is more compared to the height. In mobile, the height is more, width is not that. I can say that, okay, width will be, if width is approximately X, your height will be approximately 2 times of that one in generally mobile scenario. When it comes to your laptop or desktop, it's a little bit reverse. Your width is more. You can say it's a ratio of 3:4, or width, if your width is 4, the height will be 3. So what happens is, if you create an application for desktop, so it creates the background, the canvas accordingly. So when you will view it on mobile, you can view it. There will not be an issue. Like issue in the sense that you will be not allowed to view the application. From that perspective, there won't be an issue, but the only issue will be that you have to scroll a little bit, because obviously it has the dimensions as per the screen of laptop. So when you will view in the mobile, obviously if you want to view the screen of mobile, so you have to scroll a lot on the vertical horizontal dimension, because mobile screen width is less. So these things will come. Look and feel wise perspective, it will not be best fit. If I say in a layman term, it will be that the screen ratio will not be best fit if you view your application from a different platform from which it was built. So that will be just a concern, but not much. So generally when we build the application, we make it as a desktop browser, because most of the applications, or mostly the application, will be accessible on desktop. And advantage is that mobile you can align. If you can just view your mobile in the portrait mode or landscape mode, whichever suits, but that flexibility you don't have with your desktop. So that's why we prefer to create an application in desktop browser. In mobile, is zooming and all these things are also easy, we can manage it. So these are few things which, right? So based upon that, whatever you select, generally when we create application for lending purpose, we choose the blank template, so that it does not have already configured components, because so that we can add the component by ourselves and get the understanding, like, okay, this how it works and all these things. So this is about how you create a simple application. Just a minute. Okay, so now we comes to the components, or okay, so now the thing will be, what is the when you we created some connections, as you would have seen in the previously, it listed some of the connections. So after that, when you create an application, you need to add data sources here. So what it does, it, because your connection is to the system, so in the system itself you can have plenty of tables, plenty of views, whichever, depending upon what you have connected. So what you need is, you need to make sure that okay, which table, which view, which universe you want to use for your report creation. So that's why we need to add a data source, because previous in the backend connection is just a connection to the system. That system might have 100 tables. So with the connections, so if you see here, browse, it lists me all the connections which are available in my backend system. So few of them I created. So okay, so it is connected to that system now. Choose the data source. So these are all the, let's say it is a HANA system, so all the views which are available, which we can use it. Okay, so let's say we just take anything. Okay, so then it is your data source, or you, what you have done is you have selected the table, that okay, this is the table or view that I want to use in my system or my reporting purpose. And it is not something like you can have only one connection, you can again add more than one. So there is no limitation to the number of data sources. Previously, when Design Studio initially when it was launched, it was, I think 60 or 70 was there, the data source, but I don't think now they have any limitation. So once you so we will see there are few more steps that you need to do when you add a data source, that we will see later when I will explain the data source editing in more precise, but I just wanted to show you the place where we add the data. So it's not that everything that is the everything which we need to do for data source, it's just the first step. There are plenty of other things that you need to do to get it fine or useful, so that we will see later. So these are the various components available. They have divided it into analytic, basic and container. Generally analytic and basic, you can say they are you can club it in a single category also. There is no proper, I will say, logic to say that these are analytic, these are basic. Because initially when this design tool was developed, at that moment it makes sense to use analytic because there were only three components: chart, cross tab and dimension filter. And this basic component also used to have just 6 or 7. So that's why it was, but now it's more or less not very much. And then this container is generally all the component which contains or holds your object. So we will see what all these two things all these do. Okay. Yes. So this is your chart, component chart, which is used when you want to display your application in graphical format or when you want to display in the form of chart. So it's not something very new thing or something new, it's just like when you want to display your information in chart format. You can have different type of charts. So you will see that okay, currently this is only one chart. Where are other different type of chart? It's just you create chart and then you can select from there. You can, if you just drag this chart here, it will come here, and then you can convert into any other chart. So that we will see in the next class. I don't want to actually go in a technical depth right now. I just want to give you a brief overview of all the things which are available, so that you can see that okay, what all things are present, how it works, where it is useful, what are the use cases in which it comes handy, what are their limitations, that we will see slowly and slowly, so that you can pace it off. So this is your chart thing, and this second one is your cross tab. So generally these two are the component which will be used to display your information in most of the cases, either in the form of cross tab or in the form of chart, and that is more or less applicable to any other developer reporting tools. You represent your information either in the form of chart or in the form of tables. Okay, so the difference is like when you have a much information or information is more, let's say you have 3-4 key figures to display, like your sales, then your profit, then your expenditures, and all these things, 3-4 things are there, and you want to display for different regions, what are your different regions sales, and then within that region what are the different countries. In that case, all this too many information, it might not be, it's not good to represent on chart. Chart is generally used when you want to display information at very limited information, let's say 4 or 5 values are there, or at max 10. So in that case it makes sense. So that anyway, it's not something very difficult to, yes, whenever when you have built your application you would be familiar with it. So this is chart, this is cross tab. Okay. So we will see. Okay. Then we have this dimension filter. So when you want to, let me just edit the initial data source a little bit. So let's say we want to so let's say we just want to display with respect to these things. So whenever you add any of the object, it is the data source which it will ask that, okay, what is the data source. So you can just put it here. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of feel also, like how it looks. You can you map any data source. Just a minute. And see. Same with the help of tools. So this is how you display the information. The same thing will be required whenever you use any of the component. So mostly it is not the way might be different. You might require some extra step also, but more or less it is same. The data binding. It will be that data source mapping will be in every component. Maybe few of the exceptions, but if you see this is dimension filter, there also will be data source binding. So we will see what else needs to be required. In some of the component, just mapping is enough. In some of the component, after the mapping, there might be few more steps that you need to do. So that we will see how it works in details when we will take each of the component with a use case, like, okay, when it will use, how it works. So in that case you will see. So now if I go to dimension filter, So as the name itself is a little bit of self-explanatory, that it is something which is used when you want to filter for any of the dimension your data source. So just giving an example will be like let's say you are displaying your sales for different regions. Okay, that might be, let's say, Asia, Africa, North America, South America, Europe. Like this one, you are displaying the sales, and dimension could be your, let's say, time is the dimension, like for which year you want to view, current year, 2017, 16, 15, 15. So that dimension filter you can apply. So you can select any one of the value, more than one also, depending upon your usage, and then you can filter your data. So for any dimension, if you want to, it's like simple when you see in the Excel file, when some records are there, at the top there is a filter. So you can select few of the total values. So what it does, it filters you the data. So what it will do is, it will filter your data, and then you can view the data accordingly. So all the calculation and everything will get corresponding to that. So what it will do is, it will sales, if you are viewing for different region, so if you select only few of the year, so it will aggregate and give you only for those years which you have selected. So there are few more things which we will see later.
Yes, sir. I have a one doubt.
Yeah, sure.
I just want to show that only as a DE with gross revenue and sales revenue. One
Okay,
lead equal to gross revenue and sales revenue I want to show.
okay.
So that how can I use this chart? How can I apply
You
for it?
want to you want to display only one value.
One value that is that is for DE or Texas or US, any one of them.
Okay,
And I want
okay.
to see two objects for the gross revenue as well as sales description.
Sales deduction.
Yeah, deductions.
Okay, so you have here the data selection is there. So what it does, it allows you to choose any of the dimensions, any of the object. So let's say you don't want to use, you don't want to display both of them, either gross revenue or sales. You are interested, your report or chart is more of for only for gross revenue. So you can say gross revenue. Then, as you said, let's say we want only for CA, California. We want the sales only for California. So you can select California. So it will show you the gross revenue only for California. So your gross revenue only for California. So that way you can, there are plenty of ways to restrict it. You can go to your backend. In fact, you can edit your data source also. So the advantage of, actually, many places are there by which you can do this one. You can confine your data itself that, okay, it should show only for that value. But the problem will be, or the point which you need to consider is that, will that be useful if I restrict that at my data source? So you have to make sure that no one else require that other data. So let's say 5 regions were there, and you restrict your data source itself. If I show you a little bit here, so you have background filter. So what I did for the chart, you can do it here itself.
Okay.
That you restrict that, so that we will see. So, but the thing which you need to keep in mind is that, whether is there my any cross tab, any chart, or anywhere in my report, is that required or not? Let's say other 4 regions, if they are required. So in that case, if I put that restriction at my data source, it will be not suggestible or not good, because again I have to create one more data source where I will have all these values. So in that case, if I have to reuse that component, it will be good if I restrict it in here, what I have done. So, but as in one of my earlier project, the requirement was say almost similar what you suggested, but it was the reverse case. There was one actually it was the sales for different regions. So my requirement was a little bit different. Like I don't need the sales for one of the countries. One of the countries was which was supposed to be excluded, but it came along with the data source, so we excluded. But that was not supposed to be required in any of the part component or anywhere. So we did not exclude it at the chart level. We excluded directly at the data, that select background filter and apply and excluded that one.
Okay, sir.
So you, yeah, so you can exclude it anywhere. So these generally these are the two places where you excluded your data source. Okay. So this is how you uh, manipulate your chart plus your data source. So then we were discussing about this dimension filter. This also does the filter your data. Then this dimension filter, filter line, filter panel. These three are more or less are same. The only difference is the way they filter the data and the limitation. Like the dimension filter, the first one, it needs to be attached to one of the dimension. So if you have to specify that whether it needs to be attached to your country, your region, your maybe product types, your calendar year month or anything. So it needs to be binded to any one of the dimensions. You cannot assign it to more than one. So that is this one. Now if you come to the second one, dimension filter line, this does not have that restriction. Filter line you don't need to assign to any data source. You can, or you can say to any dimension to be precise. So user can at runtime choose any of the dimensions. Let's say he want to view for Asia Pacific, so he can select the dimension region and select the value Asia Pacific. Now let's say he wants that, okay, within Asia Pacific I want the sale for last year, so he can select another dimension, let's say year, and filter it for 2016. Even further he wanted, okay, I want the second quarter, so you can say quarter wise sale or maybe monthly. So nested level he can go more than 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is the advantage with filtered line. Then we have filter panel. So but there is one limitation of filter line that is a little bit more complex, so I'm not trying to cover that one, like which is not there in dimension. So actually this is related to data source. Like dimension filter, you can map it to more than one data source. So if you see any dimension filter, we have something concept as data source and target data source. But that is not in filter line. You can map it to any one of the data source. So what effects it does, we will see when we cover the component. It will confuse you a little bit, so I don't want to keep it. But there is a few, in short, if I say all the three filters the data, but with some limitations, some advantages, some disadvantages. So depending upon your requirement, you can select any of them. But in most of the scenarios, dimension filter works. So most of the places you will use this one, but it's not that it is used anywhere or everywhere. Some places are there where this might handy, this might be handy. Okay, so this is about filter line,
I
filter.
I have one question.
Yeah,
So, Jibril, my name is Anwar.
okay.
Just I want to know about what's the difference between Design Studio and Dashboard, like the same kind of reports we can create in Excel CS or web by report.
Uh, if you see the one of the biggest is like Excel sheets, you have a very huge data foundation. You cannot ideally, if you see if the row count goes beyond 1000, 2000, it gives very bad performance. In fact, recommended is 500. So, but still you can manage till 5000. That's not an issue. So that is the biggest limitation. Like even plenty of in my one of the projects, it was like nightmare to work on Excel sheets because the data size keep on increasing from 500 to 1000, 2000, and ultimately close to 7K. So, uh, so it behaves very weird. Sometimes it will not save. Sometimes Flash will not generate. That is one of the thing. Another thing is in Excel dashboard, it has its own flash, if you would have seen. So once you generate the preview, it creates the flash and gives you the view. So it takes more time. So initially, if you see the load time, you can say, or your application upcoming time, that is way more compared to this Design Studio. That I am saying because when Design Studio came into inception, that was in 1.2. So at that moment, what I was developing was on Excel sheets only. So our team suggested that, okay, why not go for Design Studio to our client? So they were not very much familiar with that. So what they said was like, okay, create two sample examples, not very basic. Let's have something. So already what we have already developed on Excel sheet, they said, okay, build the same on Design Studio. If we see that, okay, this is performance wise better, data limitation wise or calculation wise better, so we can go. So then we designed the same thing on Design Studio with a minor tweaks, maybe almost 95% same, 5% here and there. So the load time was very much compared to Design Studio, Excel sheet. It was 4 minutes, close to 3.5 minutes in Excel sheets, and in Design Studio it was around 1.5, so almost 40%. And then this is the initial time load. When you do any calculation, or like you just click on a filter in Excel sheets, so the time taken to refresh the data, that is also a little more compared to Excel sheets. And then this is the basic loading time and all these things, which might comes into play when your application is having plenty of components. But the basic component, if you have a little, you can say simple application, not a medium or complex. So advantage will be, biggest advantage is that JavaScripting. You have everywhere, any of the component have a select thing. So you can perform any of the action, or you can control any of the object at any moment of time. So what I say in a layman term is, you can pause your application at any moment of time. So whether you click on chart, whether you click on cross tab, if you go to Excel sheets, if you just click on this one, best you can do is you can set the visibility of anything, or you can just pull your query data. That is two or three only actions you can perform. But if you come to here, in Design Studio, you can set the visibility of any of the component, you can reload your data, you can do any of the calculations, you can assign data sources to your objects, or in fact you can assign your data source, your backend system, that connection, that also you can change. So the possibilities, or you can say the things at every moment or every step, whenever you do, whenever you navigate, you select a dimension filter. So every components are connected to each other. It's not like in Excel sheet that, okay, only when you click on drop down, your query will filter. With that drop down, you can change the values which are appearing in your next drop down itself. You can click on that drop down, and it doesn't matter whether the data source is connected to it or not. You can filter that data source also. So in short, every component has the power to affect any of the components. So that is, I can say, a biggest advantage plus a biggest control thing, or you can say something which needs to be taken care very carefully. Because if you don't take it as stone, you have to track, okay, where it got disturbed or where I have taken. So dynamic thing, if I say, let's say when you do anything in any of the so dynamic control or dynamic visibility or all these things which needs to be done at runtime, they are way more compared to your Excel CS or WebB or Lumira or Crystal Report and all these things. So these are few of the advantages. And believe me, when you will, maybe just after 3 or 4 sessions, when you will see a little bit of minor scripting things, when I will tell you like, okay, this is also what we can do, then you can understood very clearly, okay, what are the various capabilities of this Design Studio tool, what all you can perform with that one. So
Okay.
that you will see that maybe,
One more. Uh, so where can
yeah,
I able to see the JavaScript, like the script behind this report?
sorry.
No, just I want to see the scripts, the queries behind this charts or report. So do you have any option of
Yeah, yeah. So by default, there is no JavaScripting is not something which you need in every place. But whenever you will add any component, you will have something like on select or on click or on apply. So the name is just to make sure that it suits that object because it's a dimension filter. So on apply makes more sense compared to chart because it's more of on select and you click on cross tab. So this is the part where you do all the scripting thing, setting the visibility, doing calculation or filtering your data sources, all these things that is taken part here. Like simple thing, just let me give you a simple example that you want. When I click on this one, let this cross tab be hide. So you can say cross tab one dot. Once you press dot, it gives you what are all the functions available and with a minor description also. So set visibility, in that you pass true, or let's say we pass false right now. Okay. So once you execute your application, it uses your system own browser. So it doesn't take, you see it's loaded very fast. So if I click on here, my chart makes my cross tab to go off. So its visibility is gone. And then maybe I need to set another code to make it visible back or make it visible true. So this is one of the example I told you how we do. This is where we do all the scripting thing. So that's what I told you. Any component can affect any component. It's not I don't need that. Okay, it should be a filter. It should be a dimension filter or any filter should be there that when I select that only, at only that moment this filter, this cross tab can be hidden. I can make this hidden whenever I select anything here because every component have a on select, and in the scripting part you can do anything. You can manipulate any of the component. So it's kind of many to many relationship. From all the components you can affect all the components to a great extent. Not fully, but to a great extent you can affect all the components from all the components available. So this is a minor example of, we will have plenty of sessions on this JavaScripting because it is just the basic thing to set the visibility. We will do when calculation involves if loop, for loop, like whatever you see in C and Java that are also there. So that is also there. So this is analytic components what I covered. Similar to that we have these basic components also. You would have seen like button is there when you want your user to have some push functionality. Then chart type picker is there. So actually most of them will not be, most of them are like something which you have already used in your real life. These basic component. That's why maybe they would have said this basic component. So chart type picker, this is something which you use when you want your user to change the chart type at runtime. So maybe he wants to change from column chart to by a pie chart, from pie chart to bar chart, or anything you want. Similarly, you have checkbox, like if you want your user to have functionality like on, off, 0, 1, true, false, these kind of things. Like if you would have seen any website when you navigate, so in general I'm saying it's not specific to SAP BO. When you visit any websites, let's say you are shopping anything, so you have checkbox like exclude out of stock. So what it does, if you check it, it includes only those items which are currently present in stock, and if you uncheck it, it will show. So like that one, a checkbox. Checkbox group, when you want to give user, it's also similar to general things you have seen on your websites or anything when you visit, when you want to select some of out of the total values, few of the total value. Let's say you are buying any product and you want only few of the categories to be selected. So you can select, okay, I want only these brands to be considered. You can exclude all of them or few of them. So like this checkbox group. So these are different types of filter, like drop down, list box, radio button group. So generally these filters are of four type: checkbox group, drop down box, list box, and radio button. So more or less these four works in the same way, but a little bit of difference. So that we will see when we cover with a single example. The difference is like one is multi-value, one is single value, like that one. So we will see out of these four which one to use in which scenario. If all are, so question will be like, if all are used for filtering, why, how to choose which one to go for. So that we will see out of these four, there are some criteria which are, I can say, best practices when you build your application to choose which one out of these four. Okay, so this is like date field when you want your user to input some date. Then we have formatted text view when you want to display some text kind of information to user, and image as every application needs some logo, some application name, or some information regarding what it is representing. Let's say its sales is there, so you might represent with an rupee sign. If it is a HR report, you might display some pupil with a, so that it knows, okay, so let's say it's a head count report. So image is used for that one. Then input field when you want user to enter some text. So generally here actually we have the something called bookmarking or this fragment gallery. Actually fragment gallery I will not cover right now, it's a complex component. So fragment gallery, it's kind of, it takes the snapshot of your current report. So when you want to save that one, that input field comes handy. So it's just input field is not there, plenty of other scenarios are also there, like when you want to search. Let's say your report is there and you want to search for the user. So in that case you have to give user an input field so that he can enter his value, and then based upon that you can search. And then text, just for displaying some text purpose. Okay. And similarly the container components, it holds depending upon which one suits your look and feel wise and logic wise better, you choose, like grid layout, panel, tab strip, pop-up container, pop-up. So this is where these are generally the container component. So mostly we will use this tab strip. You would have even used in different other project or other business object tools also. Tab strip when you want to segregate your application into different tabs. So in that case tab strip comes. So like that one we have other components also. We will see one by one. So it's not that these components are covered, it is just to show you that these are the components available. So nothing much to learn right now, like okay how it works. From how it working purpose there is nothing I have mentioned. Right now I have just covered what are all the things available. How that we will see once you get a familiarity with tool. Look, okay, this is the tool, these are the things present, and these are the possible functionalities which we can achieve. Since you now you would have seen, okay, these are the object present, so you can visualize your application. Okay, this application, if I can use this. So for that purpose, it is just the basic things which I told you right now. So you can just go through these objects one more to see just, okay, these are the objects available. Maybe if you can just try to know a little bit more what I have told, I'm fine with that one, that's not an issue. But even you just go through that, okay, these are the objects available, these are the place where we add the data source and all these things. So if everything goes smooth, then we can proceed to the next level, like using each of the component one by one with a sample example, so that you get a better understanding. Because this tool, to be precise, if I say, it's require a lot of practice, because it has so many functionalities that it's useless if you, I will say it's not recommended to, you don't need to remember anything. It's just that you should only know, as I told in the initial discussion also, you should know that, okay, this is something which I can also do. You should know how it is done. That is not a big deal. Once you uh, type the object name and when you press dot, it anyways lists you all the functionalities. The only thing is you should know that, okay, that functionality is present in this. So I know that, okay, right now that set visibility is a function that is available. So main thing is you should know that, okay, there is something, it is provisioned to perform that action. How it needs to be done, that is secondary thing and not something which require much effort. Effort is required to know what all things can be done from this. So that's why I will just recommend you go through the session, this session, have a look at all the components, and then we can start exploring each of them one by one in a very detailed and finer level. Okay, so if it is fine, you can ask any question right now, if anything other than like how it works, because that might, you might have that question for every component. Other than that, I will say, if anything, like, okay, is that is also possible, do we have that thing, or how we do this thing. So if you have anything, you can ask, most welcome.
Like for JavaScripting, do I need to learn coding? Like I'm not from Java background. I know
No,
SQL.
no, 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 it's not like that. So what programming language you are familiar, if I ask you simple thing?
SQL.
So that is even also fine. Actually, if you have a programming language experience, it's just an advantage, nothing much. So because initially when this design tool were there, there was a much dependency on the JavaScript, but now they have slowly and slowly they are trying to remove that dependency. So there is not much to worry. It is a, actually the, in programming, it's more of a repeated kind of thing will be there. So you know that I told you, you just need to know what object and what function. That is, you need to know. Syntax wise, there is not much of thing to worry, that you can get it anywhere. You can, with the practice you can learn. So not a constraint or any issue with that one. So that's fine. Okay.
And like in real time, how much of work would be based on writing scripts or drag and drop or kind of based on requirement?
It all depends upon your requirement. Simple
Yes.
application won't require that much of JavaScripting. Medium and complex, it's more about dynamically, when what you want dynamically or in at runtime. Like if you want your standard application to be handled only by filters and all these things, it's fine, it will not require much. But if you want, let's say, within the chart you want that, okay, when I click on the chart it should go to the next level, like what example I show you for hidden. So rather than basic functionalities, what is available for any of the component. Other than that, if you want to achieve anything, that all will require the scripting. Like filtering is there. This is the work of your application. It will filter the data. It is its default nature. But other than that, you want, like, okay, when I click on this dimension, when I select anything here, I need the detailed information in another tab, and I want that tab to be open. Let's say whatever you select here, that detailed information is not in this tab, that is in another tab. So if you want to filter it, the basic application, basic requirement will be, I select dimension, my chart change. That is simple, that is the default nature of your filter. It will do anything. So you don't require application JavaScript for that. But if you want that, okay, what I filter the data, that detailed information should be present on next tab, and that should automatically take me to that tab. So that extra effort what you require, that will require JavaScripting. So every component has its explicit or default nature or default task, default functionality that it will do. Other than that, if you want, you will require JavaScripting. But I will say most of the application, real-time application, whatever you build, it will require a bit of JavaScripting. So it might be a little bit or more or less, but it will be there. You cannot escape that one in real time, to be fair. Okay. So when we will cover the various components in that one, we will use different type of scripting also. It's not that I will, if I tell you the component chart to use, I will just tell you, okay, this chart is there. Obviously, when we will cover all these components, in that everything will slowly and gradually get usage from the scripting also. So in that one you will get to know that, okay, this is something which we can do with the script. So component plus scripting, it will also include. So you will get more familiarity with the script when the all components are covered. Okay.
Okay. So as a basic structure of the course, are you going to teach anything like basic statements or queries of Java as a prerequisite?
No, 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 not nothing like that is not required. We will cover each and every component which will together cover the Java scripting itself. You don't need something explicitly or separately. It's whatever you will we will cover it, that is more than enough. It will not be something that so hardcore programming that you need an extra separate session for that one. That's not required. We will have it more than enough. And if anything is there, we can cover that again. It's not an issue. It's not very hectic or something very fast moving content. It's not that much. It will be easily very slowly paced kind of thing, which will give you enough time to practice and go through the sessions. Okay.
One more thing, like as you said, it will support only universe if I want to connect to non-SAP system like Oracle or a SQL Server. So there
Yeah.
should be as a cement layer between the.
Yeah.
So if there is any such requirement like I need to connect any OLTP database and I need to generate reports. So for that I need to, is there any other alternative option?
So OLTP you can have depending upon what you are using. As I told you, if you have some Bex Info Cube, your OLTP database, then you can directly connect. If you have some HANA views that you can directly connect. So that's how it's a little bit limitation, you can say, from backend perspective. But you can connect it if it is HANA, you can directly connect. If non HANA, then you can just create a universe on top of that, and then you can use it.
Okay. And we can connect directly to SAP ECC.
Yeah, ECC, I think you can directly connect.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
just go through the session and just try to see what are all the things are available. Then probably tomorrow same time we can have a connect and see if any doubt you are having, and then we can proceed further.
Okay.
Okay.
One thing, can you please share the course structure, like what are the topics you are going to teach
Yeah,
in?
that I think that Venkat he will share with you.
Oh,
I will ask him. Okay.
okay.
Okay, then yeah, see you tomorrow same time. Have a nice day. Yeah, nice talking to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.